you're kind of mean, and we need that. When you need to be, not over the top. But I was on.
I appreciate that.
I was on KBLA yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, "Who do you want for running president?" I mentioned, "I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know." No, I know.
In this older clip from Real Time with Bill Maher, we're diving into a fiery exchange between Bill Maher and Gavin Newsom that had everyone talking. Where I would say in this clip, Bill Maher corners woke Gavin Newsom in front of a live audience that has them gasping. And let me tell you, this is one of those moments where you can't look away. So without spoiling anything, let's just get into this clip where, of course, I'll be pausing, giving you my unfiltered opinion as we go through it. Let's get into it.
But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive. Coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that if you could win look at the swing states, there's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of the state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate, and you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
So do you think that's silly? Do you think that's a silly thing that we too much government there?
Look, that's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that.
You know it's about to be some woke nonsense when he has to pause and say, look, but, and then proceeds to say some stupid and dumb reasons. Maher is calling out California's gender-neutral toy aisle law. Man, that's a mouthful. Basically, this law is here to break down gender stereotypes, making sure kids don't feel boxed into boy toys or girl toys, yada yada yada. But come on, do we really need a law for this? This is the kind of stuff that makes people roll their eyes and say, California, what are you doing? Like, does the government really need to mandate how stores organize their toy sections? This honestly feels like the epitome of a nanny state overreach. And this is exactly the kind of thing that Republicans latch onto to paint Democrats as out-of-touch elitists who care more about virtue signaling than solving real problems. In Newsom's defense is that department stores supported the legislation, which, okay, fine, but that doesn't make it any less ridiculous. If the stores were already moving in that direction, why do we need a law to enforce it? It's like passing a law saying thou shalt serve oat milk at coffee shops. If people want it, the market will adjust. But no, California has to make it a law. And my big issue is that they put attention, time, and taxpayer money into making this a law when California is still dealing with massive issues like homelessness, crime, and water shortages. You know, putting this type of law next to all of those things, you start to see how stupid and dumb it is. But sure, let's prioritize making sure Barbies and Tonka trucks are sharing shelf space. I think Maher is absolutely right to call this out. I mean, it's a perfect example of how progressive policies can come across as tone deaf to the average person. And it's not without good reason, because I just think this is stupid. Of course, you guys can let me know down in the comments if you agree, but let's just go into these other points in the remainder. But let's just go into these other points because they only get worse from here.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. It's been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception. I mean, it's a profound and consequential moment. And you could sit by and say, well, I really want to get along as these guys are rolling back the clock, or you can stand tall and assert yourself. And the reason I started to go into those red states, the reason I started to take on DeSantis, and the reason I started doing ads in these red states is I didn't feel my party was doing enough. It was CRT one year, and then it's ESG, and it's DEI, anything with 3 letters. These guys keep coming, and they're shape-shifting. they're trauma, and so, but it's true, right? And I just felt there was a little timidity in our party. And I thought we needed to call this stuff out. These guys are being on a banning binge across this country. You want to talk about cancel culture? Look at the Republican Party. Ask Bud Light, Target, Disney. That's just the private sector. Banning speech, not just in the classroom, but in the boardroom as it relates to issues of race. Look what they've done. 3,362 books just last year they're banning. This is a serious and consequential moment. It's the cultural purge that's going on in this country. And so I just felt like we needed to call that out as Democrats and put them on the defensive, since we're consistently on our heels as a Democratic Party, even though I think the facts bear out our case significantly better than the case on the other side.
So to end off this clip, Newsom makes the point where he's calling this moment a cultural purge, and it is kind of hard to disagree. Whether it's book bans, attacks on different types of communities, rolling back women's rights, there's always a lot at stake here. And Newsom's basically saying Democrats need to stand up and fight, which of course you want to fight for what you believe. But this is the question that I ask. Is this the best way to do it? We've been living in the American political system where it's honestly just a game of right or wrong, there's no in between. And Newsom's basically saying, oh, we just can't sit back and let this happen. To be honest, I think it is a tough balance, and I'm not sure either of them has the perfect answer. I think there's always a better way to do something, and I don't think the way that Newsom is saying that, oh, we can't just sit back, we have to fight, and this constant idea, generally speaking, of just fighting is not the best way to do it. Of course, that's just what I think. To be honest, I always would love to hear what you guys think. Do you guys think there is a better way to do it? Do you think this is just how the American political system is? There's really no other way around it? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know your thoughts on this clip in terms of Bill Maher actually pushing against Newsom while also still sucking up to him as well, which I don't know how you do that. Let me know down in the comments below. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe, and of course, we'll see you guys in the next one.